So back in 2019, I remember I was going through a little phase, I guess you can say. I decided to quit my job and pursue my career. And I remember I wanted to move to Austin. I always loved Austin. I remember visiting on a few occasions, and I just thought the city was so magical. And I was like, I would love to move there and start over, right? So I had a goal set in my mind that I did want to move. But when I started my business, I was thinking, okay, well, there's no way because I just quit my job, you guys. I didn't put any 2-week notice in or anything like that. I was like so ready to I couldn't see another day of clocking in. I just knew that I needed to work for myself. So I just went on ahead and I started, right? But what I didn't know was the unfolding of the events that were to take place to lead me to get to my desired end outcome. But looking back on it this morning, I was sitting and reflecting. I was thinking of like how I can see how things happen backwards. So when you finally get your goal or your manifestation, if you ever want to know how it is that you did it, you could look back and you could see the bridge of incidents that led you to being at a certain point. And one time I was visiting in Austin in 2019, and I remember I was really getting into like manifestation. I was starting to learn, but like I said, at the same time, I started my business and things were not going like the best. Of course, you know, when you start out, like you're kind of unsure of yourself. You're like, I just had a whole bunch of insecurities and a lot of things that I was still working on. But I remember I was coming out here specifically to visit a friend one time, and I remember I was really into angel numbers at that time. And I remember getting an Uber and taking the Uber to my friend's house. And I remember looking up, I was just thinking of like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to move here. Kind of like having a little visualization moment and visualizing me there with my business and doing the things and just living a brand new life because I so desired to really just change my overall life, right? So I remember we were just riding along and I was just looking out and kind of just checking out the city and all. I remember this car, this little green car. I'll never forget it, you guys. This was like turning like a little staple point in my life. So I remember this little green car riding past us, and on the license plate it said 999, and then there was a bumper sticker off to the side that said Persist. And that just stuck with me so hard because it was just, and I had not knew about like persisting and the Neville Goddard teachings and all that. Like I was really just starting to really understand how your thoughts are your reality. So I wasn't thinking then, but I just knew that word stuck with me, persist. And at that moment, I knew that I needed to set into motion a plan to move to Austin and to just really move my business and live the life that I wanted, right? So of course, like things got hard, and when 2020 COVID came, of course, I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I have this business I'm just starting to pick up, and then the world decides to shut down. And I remember thinking like, I'm unsure if I would even be able to move now, or I would have to put it off for a whole nother year, which I had already done previously, putting it off another year because I had quit my job to start a business. So all I knew that I needed to do was persist. That was the one thing that stayed in my mind the whole time through the pandemic. I got better at learning how to, I just practiced a lot. I started setting a plan in motion. And I remember when I said, when the world opens back up, I'm going to go travel to Austin and I'm going to work there to see how things would be, like what the clientele would be like, and to see how my life would be once I moved here. And I remember like once the world just got good and opened back up, I started traveling here, and everything just lined up so completely in a way that I couldn't even like piece it together. And I ended up I traveled back and forth for like 7 months, I want to say, before I finally took the leap to move here. And I did, but I look back and I'm thinking of like, all I knew in my mind at that time was really to persist. But looking back on it, like from the outside looking in, it did seem very like what are you doing? Why would you do that? Why would you travel in the middle of like post like pandemic when things are still kind of bad? And I just never knew what was going to happen. Like there was some months where it was up and down, but I had not grown like enough confidence yet to just move here completely. And plus, I was going through a whole lot of other life changes and shifts, and so I was just giving myself the space to kind of see when would be the right window to jump through. And once I did jump through, I remember one day I woke up and I said, why can't I just allow myself to have whatever it is that I want? Why can't I just allow this to unfold? Because up until then, everything had been like really great. I had been having my consistent clientele here already, and I was generating like a little name for myself, and I was working on my confidence and getting better in a lot of other areas of my life. And it was just, I could not allow myself to fully accept it. And then I remember one other time before I decided to move, I was walking downtown, and I seen a sign and it said Persist. And then right there I knew I needed to just move and to really just do it then. So things were not like 100% certain, but I ended up finding an apartment that day and I ended up moving the following week. And ever since then, like my life has completely unfolded. It's been about a year and a half here, and I tend to think that a lot of people will say, is it Austin that made you decide to take off and build your six-figure business? And because I could have had that home, but it just didn't seem to click. But I felt like I needed to get out of where I was into another area and just start over. So was it really the place that made all this happen for me? Some people might say so, because I do tend to romanticize Austin quite a bit. I do think it's a magical place for me. I love how I feel when I'm here, but it's not really that. It was me persisting in the being. It was me persisting in the Autumn that I knew that I wanted to be. I was persisting in becoming that. Through everything, through the pandemic, I was consistent with me becoming that six-figure business owner. I was doing things, I was getting my mental together. There was a lot that was going on that pulled me to my now desired reality, which is living here in Austin, the city I would like to live in. And I have such an amazing experience living here. Like, to me, I believed that this place would be the place that I flourished. And ever since I had that in me, I was like, okay, like that's what I'm just gonna go do. But it's not the place, it's not the business, it's not the money, it's not any of the material things that I have accumulated. I really was persisting in being the Autumn that I saw myself as. And so now to look and see me doing a lot of the things that I'm doing now, it's just amazing how once I just allowed myself to accept that this was what I wanted, this was what I created, and allow myself to flow into that no matter what it looked like on the outside circumstances, I just got whatever it is that I wanted. And so you guys, when you are persisting, please remember that it's not persisting in to get the thing, to have the thing. It is to be. It is for you to be who you want it to be, that identity shift, that into that new person that you were meant to be, to sustain everything that it is that you want it to be. Because like I always say, if you could have whatever it is that you wanted to have, you would already have it by now. But you don't have it right now because there are some things that you need to change, whether it is your limiting beliefs, whether it is a certain mindset or habits or what have you. If you need more education, it could be a ton of things, but it's mostly your mindset and how you see yourself. So I knew that I needed to get out of where I was before into a new environment so the new Autumn could thrive. And it just happened to be this place, but it wasn't necessarily the city. It was me chasing and persisting in becoming who I see myself as. And it's still a continuous thing, you guys, because once you get to one level, you'll start looking to see how to get to the next level, the next version of you. That level up never truly ends. Well, you know, it shouldn't end, you know. So you guys, persist. Yes, persist, but persist in becoming who you want to be. Not persist in getting the thing. It is you, the person that you want to be, the person that you see yourself as, that draws all of everything into you. The love you want, the specific person you want, the family, the clients, the influence, the whatever it is. It is persisting in the being. All right. So I hope this was a great video for you guys, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.